Millard Fillmore was born on January 7, 1800, in a humble log cabin located in Cayuga County, New York. His early life was marked by modest beginnings and a family that struggled with poverty. He was the second child in his family, which was of English descent, and some sources suggest he was the first son among 9 children, while others mention 8 children altogether. His parents were Nathaniel Fillmore and Phoebe Millard, both of whom worked hard to make ends meet. The family's life was characterized by frequent moves and economic hardship. His father worked as a farmer and also as a schoolteacher, trying to provide for his large family amidst limited resources. Growing up in such an environment, Millard Fillmore's early years were shaped by the challenges of rural life and the necessity of self-reliance. Despite the family's financial struggles, Fillmore demonstrated an innate curiosity and a desire to learn. His formal education was minimal. He attended local schools sporadically due to their irregular schedules and the family's constant moving. Nevertheless, he was determined to educate himself. He learned to read and write through his own efforts, often borrowing books from neighbors or reading whatever materials he could find around him. In his adolescence, Fillmore's life took a turn when he was apprenticed to a local weaver, a common occupation in rural New York at the time, hoping to learn a trade that could support him financially. However, he soon realized that weaving did not suit his interests or aspirations. Recognizing the importance of education and self-improvement, he left his apprenticeship after a short period and began working in a law office as a clerk. This decision marked the beginning of his journey into the legal profession. Despite having little formal schooling, Fillmore's self-education played a crucial role in his development. He devoured books on law, politics, and history during his free time, demonstrating remarkable discipline and intellectual curiosity. His dedication paid off when he was admitted to the bar in 1823 after studying law independently for several years. Following this achievement, he established his legal practice first in East Aurora, a small town in western New York, and later moved to Buffalo, where he gained more prominence as a lawyer. Fillmore's early career as an attorney was characterized by hard work and integrity. He quickly earned a reputation for honesty and competence, which helped him build a successful legal practice despite his humble beginnings. His reputation as an upright lawyer led to increased involvement in local politics. He became active in community affairs and sought opportunities to serve his community beyond just practicing law. His political career began with local offices. He served as town supervisor of East Aurora and later as county clerk for Erie County. These roles provided him with valuable experience in governance and public service. As he became more involved politically, Fillmore aligned himself with the Democratic-Republican Party initially, but later shifted toward the Whig Party as political ideologies evolved during that period. As Fillmore's reputation grew within political circles, due to his legal work and community involvement, he sought higher office. His dedication to public service culminated when he was elected to the New York State Assembly in 1828 at just 28 years old, a significant achievement considering his modest background and limited formal education at that time. Serving in Albany provided him with exposure to state politics and legislative processes. Millard Fillmore's personal life was marked by a deep and enduring relationship with his wife, Abigail Powers, and their family. Their story begins in 1819, when Millard was still a young man, eager to build his future and establish himself professionally. During this time, he met Abigail Powers, a dedicated schoolteacher who played a significant role in his life. Abigail was known for her intelligence, kindness, and strong character. She was committed to education and helping others, qualities that resonated deeply with Millard. Their meeting was more than just a casual encounter. It was the beginning of a partnership that would influence both their lives profoundly. Abigail Powers became not only a supportive partner, but also a source of inspiration for Millard. She helped him with his studies and encouraged him to pursue his ambitions. Their relationship grew over the years, built on mutual respect, shared values, and a common desire for self-improvement. As Millard worked tirelessly to improve his circumstances, Abigail stood by his side, offering encouragement and support. Their bond was characterized by genuine affection and a shared commitment to their future together. In 1826, after several years of courtship and personal development, Millard Fillmore and Abigail Powers were married. By this time, Millard had established himself as a respected lawyer in the region. His legal career was gaining momentum, and he was becoming increasingly involved in local politics. The marriage marked a new chapter in both their lives, one filled with hope, stability, and the promise of building a family together. The couple's union was not only based on love, but also on shared aspirations for a better life. They settled into their married life with dedication and purpose. Over the years, they faced the typical challenges of family life, but remained committed to each other through thick and thin. Their relationship exemplified mutual support and understanding, quality.
Millard and Abigail's family grew with the birth of their children. They had 2 children, a son named Millard Powers Fillmore and a daughter named Mary Abigail Fillmore. Their son, Millard Powers Fillmore, was born into a household where education and moral values were highly valued. As he grew up, he inherited his parents' strong work ethic and sense of duty. He would later go on to pursue his own career paths, but always remained proud of his family heritage. Their daughter, Mary Abigail Fillmore, also played an important role in the family's life. She was raised in an environment filled with love, learning, and service to others. The Fillmore household emphasized education, morality, and community involvement, values that both Millard and Abigail held dear throughout their lives. Throughout their marriage, Abigail continued to be an active partner in Millard's political career, as well as in managing their household. Her intelligence and moral strength made her an influential figure within their family circle. She supported her husband's ambitions while also nurturing her children's growth into responsible individuals. The family's home was often filled with warmth, love, and shared aspirations for service to society. Despite the demands of public life, especially as Millard rose through political ranks, the family remained close-knit. Abigail's influence helped shape Millard's character. Her dedication to education and moral integrity left an indelible mark on him. As Millard Fillmore's political career advanced, culminating in his presidency, the family faced new challenges, but also experienced moments of pride and unity. Throughout these times, Abigail continued to be his confidant and supporter. Her presence provided stability amid the tumult of political life. In addition to supporting her husband's career ambitions, Abigail remained committed to her role as a mother and homemaker. She ensured that her children received proper education and instilled in them strong values such as honesty, hard work, compassion, and service to others. These principles became central themes in the upbringing of Millard Powers and Mary Abigail. The Fillmore family's story is one of love rooted in shared values, a partnership built on mutual respect, support, and dedication to each other's well-being. Their marriage exemplified stability during times of change. It provided a foundation from which both could pursue their individual aspirations while remaining united as a family.
As time went on, and especially during Millard's presidency, the importance of family life became even more evident for him. Despite the pressures of public service at the national level, including dealing with national crises or political opposition, Millard always valued his home life deeply. His wife Abigail's unwavering support helped him navigate these demanding times. Their children grew up witnessing firsthand the importance of integrity, education, service to others, and above all, family unity. These lessons shaped their characters as they matured into responsible adults who carried forward their parents' legacy. Millard Fillmore's rise to the presidency of the United States is a story marked by unexpected circumstances and a steady climb through the political ranks. In 1848, Fillmore was elected as the Vice President of the United States, running alongside Zachary Taylor, a prominent military leader and Whig candidate. Their partnership was part of a broader political strategy to unite different factions within the Whig Party and appeal to a wide range of voters. The election of 1848 was significant in American history, as it reflected the growing tensions over issues such as territorial expansion and slavery, which would eventually lead to the Civil War. Fillmore's election as vice president placed him in a position of national prominence, but he was not yet prepared for the responsibilities that would soon fall upon him. As vice president, Millard Fillmore was known for his dedication to duty and his efforts to support President Taylor's policies. He was considered a capable and reliable figure within the administration, often acting as a mediator among different political factions. His role was largely supportive, but he also gained respect for his integrity and commitment to public service. The vice presidency at that time was not as influential as it is today, but it provided Fillmore with valuable experience and exposure on the national stage. The turning point in Fillmore's career came on July 9, 1850. On that day, President Zachary Taylor suddenly died while in office, leaving the nation in shock. Taylor's death created an unprecedented situation. Millard Fillmore, who had been serving as vice president for just over a year, was now thrust into the highest office in the land. According to the constitutional line of succession, Fillmore assumed the presidency immediately upon Taylor's death. This transition made him the 13th President of the United States. Fillmore's ascension to the presidency was not through an election by popular vote, but by constitutional succession, an event that had only happened once before, with John Tyler succeeding William Henry Harrison in 1841. As president, Fillmore faced numerous challenges that tested his leadership and judgment. The nation was deeply divided over issues such as slavery and territorial expansion, with tensions escalating rapidly across different regions. One of Fillmore's most significant actions during his presidency was his support for the Compromise of 1850, a series of legislative measures aimed at resolving conflicts between free and slave states over new territories acquired after the Mexican-American War. The compromise included provisions such as admitting California as a free state, establishing territorial governments in Utah and New Mexico without restrictions on slavery, popular sovereignty, ending the slave trade in Washington, D.C., and enacting a stricter fugitive slave law.
These measures were highly controversial. Supporters believed they preserved national unity, while opponents saw them as concessions that perpetuated slavery. Fillmore's endorsement of the Compromise of 1850 demonstrated his commitment to maintaining peace and stability during turbulent times. He believed that compromise was necessary to prevent disunion and civil conflict. His support helped pass these laws through Congress, despite fierce opposition from abolitionists and anti-slavery advocates who viewed them as morally wrong and politically dangerous. Throughout his presidency, Fillmore also focused on domestic issues such as economic development and infrastructure improvements. He supported policies that promoted trade expansion, internal improvements like roads and canals, and efforts to modernize American industry. His administration worked toward strengthening economic stability following periods of financial instability earlier in the century. However, Fillmore's presidency was also marked by political controversy. His decision to support the fugitive slave law alienated many Northerners who opposed slavery but were uncomfortable with its enforcement laws. This stance contributed to divisions within his own party, the Whigs, and diminished his popularity among certain segments of the American public. Internationally, Fillmore sought to strengthen U.S. relations with other nations through diplomacy and trade agreements. His administration negotiated treaties aimed at expanding American influence in Latin America and Asia, while maintaining peaceful relations with European powers engaged in colonial pursuits elsewhere.
Despite these efforts, Fillmore's time in office faced increasing opposition from both abolitionists who wanted immediate emancipation and pro-slavery advocates who sought to expand slavery into new territories. The political landscape grew more polarized during his tenure, setting the stage for future conflicts that would eventually lead to civil war. After serving nearly 3 years as president, since he assumed office upon Taylor's death, Fillmore sought election in his own right, but failed to secure renomination by his party in 1852. His presidency ended when Franklin Pierce succeeded him after winning that year's presidential election. One of the most notable achievements of Fillmore's presidency was his implementation of the Compromise of 1850, a comprehensive package of legislative measures designed to temporarily ease the sectional conflicts that had been escalating since the Mexican-American War. The compromise included several key provisions. California was admitted as a free state, which upset Southern interests. Territorial governments were established in Utah and New Mexico with the principle of popular sovereignty, allowing residents to decide whether to permit slavery. The slave trade was abolished in Washington, D.C., symbolically ending the domestic slave trade within the nation's capital. And, most controversially, a stricter fugitive slave law was enacted, requiring citizens and law enforcement in free states to assist in capturing and returning escaped slaves. Fillmore strongly supported this legislation because he believed that it was essential for preserving the Union. He saw the compromise as a pragmatic solution that could buy time for both sides to cool down and avoid outright conflict. His administration vigorously enforced the fugitive slave law, which mandated that escaped slaves be returned to their owners and imposed penalties on those who aided fugitives. While this law was seen by many Southerners as a victory, it provoked widespread outrage among Northerners who viewed it as unjust and morally wrong. Many abolitionists and anti-slavery advocates refused to comply with or enforce the law, leading to increased tensions between federal authorities and Northern communities. The enforcement of the fugitive slave law created significant unrest in Northern states, where citizens often resisted its provisions through legal challenges, civil disobedience, or outright defiance.
This resistance deepened sectional divides and contributed to growing hostility toward slavery among many Northerners. The law's unpopularity also caused a split within the Whig Party, which had been a major political force, but was increasingly divided over issues related to slavery. Many Northern Whigs found themselves at odds with Southern members who demanded strict enforcement of the law, leading to internal party conflicts that weakened its cohesion. Despite these challenges, Fillmore remained committed to upholding the law and maintaining national stability. His support for the Compromise of 1850 reflected his belief that avoiding disunion required difficult concessions from both sides. However, his stance alienated many abolitionists and anti-slavery advocates who saw him as complicit in perpetuating slavery's expansion and brutality. In addition to domestic issues, Fillmore's presidency was marked by active engagement in foreign policy aimed at expanding American trade and influence across Asia and Oceania. One of his most notable initiatives was supporting Commodore Matthew Perry's expedition to Japan in 1852-1854. Perry's mission was to open Japan's ports to American ships, a goal driven by economic interests and strategic considerations. The Japanese had maintained centuries of isolation under their Sakoku policy, but Perry's arrival with a fleet of powerful ships compelled Japan to reconsider its stance toward foreign nations. Fillmore's administration played an instrumental role in facilitating this diplomatic breakthrough. Perry's negotiations resulted in the Treaty of Kanagawa in 1854, after Fillmore left office. Yet it was during his presidency that initial contacts were made, setting the stage for opening Japan's markets to American trade. This event marked a significant milestone in U.S. foreign policy, establishing America as an active participant in Asian affairs and expanding its commercial reach into new markets. Furthermore, Fillmore opposed France's attempt at annexing Hawaii during his presidency. France had shown interest in establishing influence over Hawaii, a strategic location vital for maritime trade routes across the Pacific Ocean. Fillmore viewed such expansionist moves with suspicion and concern about foreign dominance over American interests in the Pacific region. Although he did not take direct military action against France's ambitions, his opposition underscored his commitment to protecting American sovereignty and commercial interests abroad. Throughout his tenure, Fillmore also sought to strengthen diplomatic relations with Britain and other European powers while promoting trade agreements that would benefit American merchants. His administration worked toward fostering peaceful relations with other nations amid rising global tensions, an effort consistent with his broader goal of maintaining stability both domestically and internationally. Despite these accomplishments, Fillmore's presidency faced significant political obstacles that ultimately limited his chances for re-election. The Whig Party was experiencing internal divisions over slavery and expansionism. Many Northern Whigs grew increasingly uncomfortable with their party's stance on these issues. After leaving office in 1853, following Franklin Pierce's election victory, Fillmore continued to be involved in political debates but did not seek further elected office. His presidency is often remembered for its efforts at compromise during one of America's most turbulent eras, a time when sectional tensions threatened national unity, and for its role in shaping U.S. foreign policy toward Asia. After his presidency, Millard Fillmore's personal life took a new direction that reflected both his enduring commitment to family and his desire to remain active in public service and community affairs. Following the death of his first wife, Abigail Powers Fillmore, in 1853, Just a few years after leaving office, Fillmore experienced a period of personal grief, but also found new companionship and stability through marriage. In 1858, he married Caroline Carmichael McIntosh, a wealthy widow who was well-connected and shared his interests in philanthropy and civic engagement. This marriage not only provided him with personal happiness, but also allowed him to continue contributing to society in meaningful ways. Caroline McIntosh was a prominent figure in Buffalo society, known for her charitable work and social influence. Her wealth and social standing helped Fillmore to deepen his involvement in community affairs. Together they resided in Buffalo, New York, where Fillmore remained an active member of the local community. His life after the presidency was characterized by a dedication to public service outside of elected office, focusing on philanthropy, education, and civic improvement. Living in Buffalo, Fillmore became increasingly engaged in charitable activities. He supported various causes such as education initiatives, orphanages, and hospitals. His reputation as a former president lent credibility and influence to these efforts. He believed strongly in giving back to the community and used his experience and connections to promote social welfare projects. His involvement in these activities reflected his lifelong commitment to public service and his desire to improve the lives of ordinary citizens. In addition to his charitable work, Fillmore also took an active interest in local politics and civic organizations. He served on several boards and committees dedicated to community development. His leadership qualities and political experience made him a respected figure among Buffalo's civic leaders. Despite no longer holding national office, he continued to be influential within his community through these roles. Throughout this period of his life, Fillmore maintained close ties with friends from his political past, as well as new acquaintances he made through his philanthropic endeavors. His marriage to Caroline McIntosh provided stability and companionship during his later years. Their partnership exemplified a shared commitment to societal betterment and demonstrated how personal relationships can support ongoing public engagement. Millard Fillmore's health gradually declined as he aged. In the final years of his life, he continued to live in Buffalo, where he remained active until health issues limited his activities. His dedication to community service persisted until the end of his life. On March 8, 1874, Millard Fillmore passed away at the age of 74 in Buffalo, New York. His death marked the end of a life that had spanned significant periods of American history, from the tumultuous years leading up to the Civil War through Reconstruction, and from national leadership back into local civic life. His funeral was attended by many prominent citizens who recognized his contributions both as president and as a dedicated member of their community. He was buried alongside Abigail Powers Fillmore in Forest Lawn Cemetery in Buffalo, a resting place that symbolized both their enduring bond and their shared commitment to service.